Have you subscribed to Dolphins Today? If your answer to that is no, then we need to change that before we get into today's show. If you do want to get featured in an upcoming Miami Dolphins rumors mailbag, you have to subscribe. The other reason why you should sub, preseason right around the corner. Regular season is basically like 40 days away, and all we're trying to do is keep you guys up to date. More subs equals more video. So before we get into today's show, take 2 seconds, look underneath the vid, and hit that subscribe button. It's Dolphins mailbag time. Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports, ready to answer all of y'all's questions. And literally probably like every week, we put out a post on our community tab and say, hey guys, throw in all your questions. I try to mix and match my favorites, and then I give you guys my 2 cents. This first one's coming in from Sergio Martinez. What wide receivers are making the final roster of the Miami Dolphins for this season? So what I want you guys to do is I'm going to give you 6 receivers that are going to make the 53-man roster, but you're going to notice one of the guys is not on the list. So we got the first 3 going to be locks: Devontae Parker, Jalen Waddle, Preston Williams, and then 3 more receivers coming on in here where I got Albert Wilson, Jakeem Grant, Lynn Bowden Jr. If you guys want me to make a 53-man roster video projection, I want you to type 53 down in the comments. So the one name that you're noticing is not on my list, it's Will Fuller. And you're like, Mitch, what the heck? How can you not have Will Fuller on your list? Just panic, or don't panic for a second. He suspended the first game of the season, which means the Dolphins don't have to put him on that 53-man because he's not going to count against it due to him being suspended. Now, will he be on the 53-man in week 2? Yes, absolutely. And then the Dolphins will have to get rid of somebody. All I'm saying is this: if you're telling me to project the 53-man roster for week 1 of the regular NFL season, Will Fuller won't be on it because he doesn't need to be on it. So which wide receivers will Miami keep, I guess, for that 53-man? They have a lot of talent at this position, and I think Miami did a phenomenal job this offseason surrounding Tua Tagovailoa with as much talent as humanly possible. But let me know. Give me the names. Which wide receiver is going to make that 53-man? Let's go to Robert Fritz. Rob, you need to get a picture here. Worst case scenario, do the Phins have adequate replacement for X? Do you have an adequate replacement for Xavien Howard? Probably not. I mean, it's really hard to be able to replace a guy who had 10 interceptions the year before and who's basically had over 20 interceptions the last 4 years. But if you are saying, all right, we're going to have to replace Xavien Howard in a sense of a trade, you're hoping that Byron Jones plays a little bit better this upcoming season. When he played last year, when he was actually healthy, he's good. And I would actually make the argument, when fully healthy, Byron Jones is just as good as Xavien Howard. It's just he doesn't have the interception numbers because people won't target Byron. It's just, that's the truth. But if you're talking about the player that needs to step up and step up the most, it would be Noah Igbinoghene, who the Dolphins drafted number 30 overall in the 2020 NFL draft. He really struggled as a rookie last season, but when you talk to Jalen Waddle, he said the best cornerback he ever played in college was Igbinoghene. Like, the guy has talent, and he's a physical player. He just struggled last season as a rookie, and I'm going to give a lot of rookies a pass because 2020 was a difficult year. So if you're looking for that X replacement, it's probably Igbinoghene. Let's go to AlphaChad here. If you guys can name the show that this picture is from, bonus points to you. Do you think the Dolphins' defense will regress or get even better this season? I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to regress, but it's not because that I don't like the Dolphins' defense. Last season, they gave up, I believe, the second least amount of points in the NFL, and I really thought that they overachieved in terms of the overall talent on that roster, and that's more to do with the awesome coaching job of Brian Flores and his staff. It's not that, again, that I don't like it, but if they are to lose Xavien Howard, which I actually do anticipate that being the case, this defense does take a little bit of a step back. I don't know if they're a top 10 defense, but I have them somewhere around 12 or 13 in my rankings. Let's go to Rob 2020. What up, Rob? It's such a relief knowing this organization's in good hands all the way up to ownership, GM, coaches, staff. Very proud Dolphins fan here since 71. Let's get this division handled first. So, Rob, it sounds like you've been a Dolphins fan since 1971. What I want you guys to do right now is let me know down in the comments, what year did you become a fan? Were you born a Dolphins fan? If you want to put the year you were born, go ahead and do so. Was there a game that you were watching on television? I mean, I wasn't a Dolphins fan. I'm not a Dolphins fan. fan, sorry. But my dad growing up used to say he used to watch Dan Marino all the time, and he was always a fan of him. But maybe you guys are a fan of the Dolphins, so let me know. What year did you become a fan? Let's go to Aaron N. What's up, Aaron? Should we trade X for another defensive star, more firepower on offense, or more draft capital? So in terms of, if you're looking for a star player that I think would be probably make the most sense of trading for Howard, maybe Chandler Jones. I mean, Jones has definitely been a player that I've mentioned before on this channel, and I've mentioned him on our Chat Sports channel as well. He's coming off a year where he battled some injuries. 11 tackles and a sack, but the years before that, I mean, he had 19 sacks in 2019. He's been one of the best edge rushers, and he also has that connection with Brian Flores. So I'd say, if you're looking for a star power, I'm going to say Chandler Jones. Let's go to Bo. What up, Bo? Just curious why the Dolphins passed on Najee Harris in the NFL draft. I just think that they have Justin Phillips, or Jalen Phillips, excuse me, a little bit higher. 18 overall is where they took him. But in terms of what's more important in the NFL, like, I get the running back position is important, but it's very easy to replace. So I think that they had Jalen Phillips a little bit higher on their board than Najee, and maybe they were hoping that either Harris, Travis Etienne, or Javonte Williams would have slid to them at pick 36. Unfortunately for them, the Denver Broncos jumped them at 36, took Williams at 35, and then they were kind of left with not really having a running back option. But that's why I believe that they passed on Najee. They were hoping another running back fell to them at 36. Now, again, guys, I want you to go ahead and subscribe. We got Dolphins videos every single week here, 4 or 5 times a week. And if you want daily videos, you got to go ahead and subscribe. When breaking news happens, we're going to keep you updated. Who knows? We might even start doing some live shows here. We're interactive, not only in the comments, but when we go live, our shows are very interactive, like you see what you're watching right now. More subs, more vids, and it's 100% free. Let's go to NFL Nick. Do you believe that they will trade Grant since Waddle is now here? I like Jakeem Grant. He's a good player. The only reason why I'm going to go ahead and say that I think it's unlikely that he's traded is due to his contract. So if a team goes out and they trade for Grant, they're going to have to pay the Dolphins, or they're going to have to pay Grant $3.6 million. Not that I don't think that he's 100% worth that, but considering the fact that he's probably the 5th, 6th wide receiver on this team, that doesn't beg a lot of confidence in another NFL team going out and paying for that. But he does offer some special teams value. He's got elite speed, especially vertical speed down the seam. But in terms of getting traded, I'm going to go ahead and say no. If a team really wants Grant, I think they have a better chance of hopefully the Dolphins cutting him and then them picking him up. But I expect Grant to make the 53-man. Let's go to Cameron, England. Bonjour. If Tua doesn't do well this year and are we drafting another quarterback in the next draft? I mean, I'll tell you what, man. If Tua struggles, that's going to be really alarming to me because the offensive line's been upgraded. You have probably one of the most exciting wide receiver units and a great tight end in Mike Gesicki in the entire league. So if he still struggles, then I'm not going to go full panic meter. But if you do want to start looking at some top quarterback prospects in 2022, here I'd probably say are the top 5. Spencer Rattler from Oklahoma, Sam Howell, Malik Willis, Keaton Slovis, and then Carson Strong. I would say out of all the quarterbacks on this list, the one that probably has the highest upside is Willis, but the one that I believe is probably going to be drafted first could end up being Rattler or Howell, but we got so much to see. I mean, think about it. Joe Burrow, nobody talked about him. Nobody talked about Baker Mayfield, and they ended up being number 1 overall picks. So let me know here, you guys. If Tua struggles, should Miami draft a quarterback in 2022? The QBs that were mentioned, I anticipate being first-round picks if they play as well as they did basically last year. If they continue to ascend, if you will, they're probably going to be first-round picks, if not late seconds, or I guess I should say early seconds. Y for yes, N for no. I'm still going to go ahead and say no. Like, you got to give Tua some time. If you draft the number 5 overall, you can't just throw him away. So I'm going to go ahead and say no. All right, Dakota. Kurt, oh man, Merritt breakout year. As much as I know that some people are excited about Kirk or Merritt, like, I don't even know if this guy's going to make the team. So you played in 1 game last year, 7 special team snaps, 1 offensive snaps, 6 foot, 208 pounds. In terms of overall build, the player that he reminds me of, maybe you guys will understand this, is Dante Moncrief is probably a similar NFL player comp. Moncrief is a lot more talented, though, than Merritt. The biggest issue for him is he's, the 8th? 9th receiver on this depth chart. So to say breakout year, you're just hoping this guy makes the roster. All right, this one is coming in from Xavien, and hopefully I pronounced that right. If not, I'm sorry. my ex trade. So your ex-girlfriend's trade. Miami receives Watson and a second-round pick, and Houston receives X and 2 first-round picks and a 4th-round pick as well. So I love trades. I mean, it's probably one of my favorite things to talk about here at Chat Sports. So if you send in a juicy trade, good chance you're going to get on the show. Hint, hint, wink, wink. So here's the trade to make it a little bit easier to read and digest. The Dolphins get Deshaun Watson and a 2022 second-round pick. The Texans get Xavien Howard, a 2022 first, a 2023 first, and then a 2022 fourth. I read that weird, but you guys can see it here on screen. Let me know what you're thinking about this trade. If you tell me right now nothing's ever going to happen with Deshaun Watson, this is an absolute steal for Miami. The reason why I wouldn't do this is because I'm not going to give up multiple first-round picks, and I'm not going to give up my star cornerback for a player that I don't even know if he's going to be playing after this year. Remember, February 2022 is when his whole legal thing's going to happen. He's facing like 22 or 21 legal cases against women. I can't go out and bring a guy on the team that's facing all that legal trouble. So I like the idea. It was creative, but as far as right now, I'm staying away from Watson.